Thomas Mitchell had built an empire from nothing. At 42, he commanded boardrooms and made decisions worth millions before breakfast. But tonight, standing outside his childhood home in Cedar Falls,
Yes.
he felt like that
million
scared
times yes.
10-year-old boy again. The one who once knocked on doors selling newspaper subscriptions to help his sick mother. The December snow fell softly as he locked his car. He had driven 3 hours from the city, escaping another lonely evening in his penthouse. His assistant had asked why he was leaving early on a Friday. He had no answer. Something just pulled him back to this quiet street where he grew up. As he approached his mother's house, he noticed a small figure sitting on the porch next door. The old Henderson place. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6, sat huddled against the cold, wearing a red dress under a beige winter coat. Her blonde hair caught the porch light. She held a small green backpack and seemed to be waiting for something. Thomas slowed his steps.
I love you
The house looked dark inside. Too dark. "Hello there," he said gently, climbing the Hendersons' porch steps.
Yeah, it's so nice.
"Are you waiting for someone?"
Nice.
The child looked
I
up
like
at
it
him with
too.
enormous hazel eyes.
So, how
Her
was your
face
day
was
today?
streaked with dried tears.
It was good, very
"My
peaceful.
mama," she whispered. She was
Couldn't
supposed to
agree
wake me up
more.
for dinner, but she's still sleeping. Something cold gripped Thomas's chest. "How long has she been sleeping, sweetheart?" "Since this morning? Before school?" She said she was just tired and needed to rest. The little girl's voice trembled. "I tried to wake her up when I got home, but she won't answer me. I got scared, so I came outside." Thomas knelt down to her level, his expensive coat pressing into the snowy porch. "What's your name?" "Emma." "Emma, I'm Thomas. I used to live right next door when I was your age. Can you take me to your mama?" Emma nodded and stood up, her small hand reaching for his. The trust in that gesture nearly broke him. Inside, the house was frigid. The heat had been turned off, probably to save money. Thomas recognized the signs immediately. He had lived them. The mostly empty refrigerator visible through the kitchen door. The past due bills stacked on the counter. The worn furniture and threadbare curtains. Emma led him down a narrow hallway to a bedroom. A woman lay on the bed, painfully thin, her skin pale as the snow outside. She was maybe 30, though hardship had aged her. Her breathing was shallow and labored. Thomas touched her forehead. Burning hot. He gently shook her shoulder. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered, but didn't open. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911, then called his mother next door while they waited for the ambulance. Thomas wrapped Emma in a blanket from the bed and held her close. She didn't cry. She was too scared for tears. "Is my mama going to die?" Emma asked, her voice barely audible. Thomas thought of his own mother, how close he had come to losing her when he was young, how terrified he had been, how helpless. "No, sweetheart. We're going to get her help. I promise you won't be alone." The ambulance arrived within 10 minutes. The paramedics worked quickly, while Thomas's mother, Margaret, came over and took Emma into her arms. Thomas rode with Emma's mother to the hospital, staying while doctors examined her. Severe pneumonia, dehydration, malnutrition. She had been sick for weeks. They said, trying to work through it, trying to care for her daughter, until her body simply gave up. Over the next 3 days, Thomas learned their story. Sarah Crawford was a widow. Her husband had died 2 years ago in a construction accident. She worked 2 jobs trying to keep them afloat. She had no family, no support. When she got sick, she tried to push through it because missing work meant not making rent. She had finally collapsed that morning after getting Tem made Emma ready for school. Thomas sat by Sarah's hospital bed on the 3rd evening. Emma was with his mother, finally sleeping peacefully. Sarah's eyes opened slowly, focusing on him. "Who are you?" She whispered, confused. "A neighbor," Thomas said simply. "Your daughter Emma is safe. She's next door with my mother." Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks. "I tried so hard. I tried to keep going. I couldn't let her down." Thomas reached over and took her hand. "You didn't let her down. You're a warrior. But even warriors need help sometimes." He told her about his own childhood, about his father leaving, about his mother working 3 jobs, about the neighbors who helped, the teachers who noticed, the small acts of kindness that had saved them, about how he had sworn that if he ever made something of himself, he would pay it forward, Sarah cried, and Thomas sat with her, just as others had once sat with his mother. When Sarah was released from the hospital a week later, she came home to a transformed house. Thomas had paid her rent for 6 months, stocked her refrigerator and pantry, paid her medical bills, arranged for a part-time position at one of his company's regional offices with full benefits and reasonable hours so she could be home for Emma. "I can't accept this," Sarah protested. Overwhelmed, Thomas smiled. 25 years ago, a businessman named Harold Chen paid 3 months of rent for my mother when she was about to be evicted. I never got to thank him. He died before I could pay him back, so I'm paying it forward. That's all. One day when you're able, you'll help someone else. That's how it works. Emma stood between them, holding both their hands. "Are you going to be my friend now?" she asked Thomas. Thomas knelt down and looked into those trusting hazel eyes. "I'm going to be better than a friend. I'm going to be your neighbor. And neighbors look out for each other." That Christmas, Thomas spent the holiday not at some resort or restaurant, but next door at his mother's house, with Sarah and Emma joining them for dinner. As he watched Emma play with the toys Santa had brought, as he saw Sarah laugh for the first time in years, as he sat beside his own mother who squeezed his hand with pride, Thomas understood something profound. Success wasn't measured in bank accounts or boardrooms. It was measured in moments like these, in the trust of a frightened child, in the relief of an exhausted mother, in the ability to be someone else's answered prayer. Emma looked up from her toys and smiled at him, and Thomas smiled back. Sometimes angels come to us in the form of a little girl on a snowy porch, whispering that her mama won't wake up. And sometimes, if we're paying attention, they give us the chance to become angels ourselves. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about kindness and human connection. Leave a comment below about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness, or when you were able to help someone in need. Your story might inspire others to pay it forward.